I want to welcome you to our 10th annual ASU GSV Summit.
One of the things that is a hallmark for us is being able to be in front of things years before they happen.
We're in exponential times.
And so the summit, we hope, will always be sort of on the front end of that curve, thinking about what are the solutions of tomorrow and focus on what people can do today.
If you look what's happened in the last 10 years, and you fast forward to the next 10 years, I think we're going to have amazing things that we're going to be able to accomplish.
There's nothing quite like the ASU GSV Summit. It's been so fun to see it grow, and now it's just incredible to see the movement that it's become.
I started Age of Learning 2 years before this conference started. We were loners at the time.
When we started, there was e-learning, where you had CD-ROMs with old-style software on it.
You'd slide acetate overheads onto a projector and show them what their class could look like on the internet. Today, we've gone past that hurdle.
The summit in its first year started small.
10 years ago, it was 350 people in sweaty setup conference rooms in Scottsdale.
We spoke to 35 people about the internet, technology, and I think of the 35 people, 20 of them were cafeteria workers.
"10 years after the first conference, the ecosystem of the education environment is very different. We have near ubiquitous access of handheld devices and broadband that makes scaling edtech companies much more likely than it was 10 years ago.
The rate of technological change and the magnitude of change that we are experiencing is happening at a speed unlike ever before in human history.
We've seen edtech companies that IPO'd in the last 2 or 3 years, and that was actually very rare, so we can really see this market booming right now.
In 2010, $700 million was invested in venture capital and education and talent, and we thought that was pretty great. Look at it last year, $7 billion was invested, with investors recognizing the importance of this area.
We have seen education exploded in Asia area. The students for the higher education, it has increased about 50% during the past 10 years. Education is a big focus not only for Asia, education is the big focus for the entire world.
There's no question we've made a big improvement over the last 10, 20 years, but we've got a long way to go in the next 10 to 20.
The moment's never been more pressing for us to be able to use technology, to be able to personalize education, to think of new models, to be able to help keep pace with this, mega transformation that the world is seeing.
The next 10 years is going to be even better connectivity, better integration, better unification, and movement into a system of intelligence.
There's going to be very significant deployment of artificial intelligence and data more broadly in informing what's the right learning for each learner.
The biggest challenge and also the biggest opportunity at this time is how to both facilitate the personalization and the massification of education.
Mastery and adaptive learning, personalized learning for kids is really the way of the future.
When we look in a kindergartner's eyes at 5 years old, we don't know what job to prepare them for. We don't know what industries are going to exist. We're struggling now trying to understand how AI is going to change how we live. Forget about how we learn, how we live.
Education is the only solution that will help our civilization thrive in a future of work. What we see are dynamic changes to the skills that are needed out of our human workforce, as well as impending changes from automation and robotics that will replace or augment much of our human work.
The level of disruption now facing people throughout their lives into their jobs means that more than ever they need to embrace lifelong learning.
A college degree is insufficient. What we have to do now is teach people to learn how to learn.
We'll need to reskill at least 1/3 of the global workforce in the next 12 years. That's 1 billion people to reskill.
We want to make sure that we equip this next generation to be prepared for work, prepared for life, and really be able to tackle the big challenges that lie ahead.
The real role of education technology is to serve humanity. It's to serve teaching and learning. We are a community that is emboldened by helping each other. I think we're learning that through some hard lessons, frankly, and we share those lessons at ASU GSV.